Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Rivals expandable card game. So you notice I'm calling it Rivals and not Vampire the Masquerade because we have jumped into also having Hunter The Recking adding. So this is the second expansion with Hunter The Recking. And also because the next set that's coming out will have it's the Werewolf Saga. I'm not sure if the subtitle is for the werewolves off the top of my head. We're getting more of this, the World of Darkness realm, which is really cool. So yeah, they're kind of just rebranding it. It's almost as Rivals. I think it's still listed under Vampire the Masquerade Rivals. But it's neat. We're getting more, getting more different groups. So in this set, we're getting one new Hunter deck. So this brings us up to having 3 full different Hunter decks. Not enough to make a full 4-player game, but I think typically you probably don't play Hunters, all 4 Hunters against each other. But we're getting there. But it also includes cards for the latest 6 clans: the Banu Hakim, the Kadif, the Ministry, Ravenos, Silbury, and Kizmis. So basically this is all, like, as the first bunch of sets came out, then they had the Heart of Europe expansion, which added a bunch of extra cards to kind of boost up these old groups from all the other ones. And then now they've released all these, and they're having some that boost up all them. So it kind of gives them all a little bit roughly more about the same number of card pools. It's not exactly the same because there's some promo cards that change it. But yeah, so we're going to get some extra new things. So we'll have our pre-constructed Marshall deck. 12 additional Hunter cards, 18 new Vampire cards, 41 new Vampire deck cards, basically our Crypt. And then there's also 10 errata cards, which is another thing they did in that set. Just fixing some of the old cards. And we'll look at them and we'll compare them as we go along too. Alright, so we're going to jump into some of the rules here. So first we have the Martial Creed are masters of equipment and need to hunt monsters, and they're needed. Masters of the equipment needed to hunt monsters. Their skills with guns, explosive vehicles, and even drones are second to none. They'll need all this and more for what they have to face off against the vampires that sulk in the shadow. There are plenty to choose from here with new vampires for the following clans. I do wish they included some more monsters in here. That would have been kind of neat. So we're also going to get 2 deck dividers in there as well for the new ones. We have their deck plus their extra cards, so you can just separate them right away. If you have the deck box. So what do these guys do? The members of the Martial Creed favor direct, combative, and more outwardly violent approaches to the hunt. Most are smart enough to realize they're perpetually underdogs against supernatural and try to equalize those odds with extensive training and firepower. They seek out combat in their terms, often stock monsters and vampires alike, waiting for them to strike. When they do, they can jump in the way to defend the innocents with enough equipment ready. Martial hunters can deal massive amounts of damage to unsuspecting supernatural threats, though they who thought they were about to have their nightly meal. So there's some new keywords and new hunter edges. So the edges are they're just on the side of the card. They're going to kind of show the different things that they can work with. They're like I forgot the name, what the abilities of the vampires were called. But they're like their little traits, basically. So you have Arsenal Edge. Hunters with Edge have great proficiency with ranged weapons. Also have access to a wide variety of weapons not generally available to the public. The Drone Edge. Hunters with Edge have an eye in the sky, which can be quite useful on the hunt or when denizens of the night are on the prowl. Fleet Edge. Hunters with this edge have access to a wide variety of vehicles, often with add-ons that would not please local constabulary. And then the Ordnance Edge. Under this edge have access to explosives, the knowledge and how to use them, and whether remotely detonated or thrown at a target, it's supposed to get the job done. We also have Diabolist, which you've had before. This keyword, vampires with this keyword may consume the essence of a vampire they have defeated during an attack if the victim had some of their blood on them. Attach the victim to the vampire, defeats them so that the leftmost column attributes and disciplines visuals such as often referred to as play. The Diabolist gains the attributes of the consumed vampire, where they are higher than their own, as well as all their disciplines. Disciplines, that's what they're referred to. +1 bonus blood point. So basically what that means if I grab a vampire. So if, for example, this guy was eaten, he would give 2 mental to whoever he became the prey of, as long as theirs isn't higher, and then he also gets this discipline. Yeah, so we've had this ability before. There's some more in here that they're bringing back. So I'm not going to read through all this because that's just there. We got a lot easier just going over them in case you hadn't had that expansion for some reason. Possessive. Vampires with these keywords retain 1 non-title attachment when they enter Tapor. Vampires enter Tapor automatically keep their title. So all this keyword allows them to keep a non-title attachment as well. So that means they can enter with 2 of them as long as one's a title. Reach. Characters with this keyword may attack characters in the streets from the comfort of their havens. Exhausted characters in your haven are still members of the attacking party. City deck mortals and face down monsters are not characters, thus do not be attacked this way. Silver. If silver damage is dealt to a werewolf, it is aggravated. So is the +1 silver damage. Falling on the hunter card, silver bullets deals 1 aggravated damage to a werewolf. Does not make all the damage aggravated, only the 1 point. Stealth. In order to block attacks made by a character of stealth, the blocker control must discard 1 card for each point a stealthy attacker has. And then the last one we have is solitary. This keyword can now be found on vampires other than this celebrity. So originally that was only for them. That was their whole gimmick, and now some other vampires also have it, which makes sense. Solitary vampires gain substantial benefits when they are the only vampire you control. Vampires with key solitary are subject to the following rules. Each player may only control 1 vampire with solitary at a time. If you recruit a new solitary vampire, you burn your old one. If you only control 1 vampire and they have solitary, when this vampire is defeated or sent to Tapor, burn them unless they suffer Galbury. You may immediately recruit a vampire from your hand. With no action cost, paying their prestige cost is normal. Doing so prevents courtier elimination. They do not gain your leader token. When this vampire plays or places an action card, ready them. Note, the first 2 bullets always apply, even if your solitary vampire is part of a coterie with other vampires. The last bullet and the sub-bullet points apply only if the vampire you control is solitary. You can control vampires even if they're in Tapor. Yes, the first 2 always apply. So it's basically saying you may only have 1 solitary. If you recruit a new one, you have to get rid of it. So no matter what, that's always going to happen. And the rest of the stuff only happens if that's the only one. So you can actually have a group of vampires and just have one have solitary. And then what could end up happening is everyone else gets eliminated, and that one solitary now becomes more powerful. Then there's some card-specific stuff, which I don't want to get into. So there we go. It's a Renegade, World of Darkness. Check out their stuff, of course. All the awesome people that work with these. And there's some people up there, too, to design this set specifically. Well, I'd like to shout those guys. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright. Oops, I grabbed the wrong... What did I do here? 1 sec. I mixed up my cards. Alright. So we're going to we're going to hop in and look at our hunters. We're going to start off with our brand new ones. So we have Jordana, who's our martial hunter. So they'll have the little bullseye up at the top, plus this camouflage. Black, red, gray. It's 2 mental. So she has the hunter keyword. Just to note that she is a hunter. Otherwise it doesn't do anything in and of itself. Also note, expansion symbol on the bottom is bullets, but then the hunters will always have an H in the bottom. So if you haven't checked out the previous video, which shows off how the hunters work, is basically they work the exact same way as a vampire does, with a few minor things. Is they have edges instead of disciplines, but those work the same way. So they will have something like this. It'll show you have to have that edge to be able to use this card. But the other big thing is they'll have H's in the corner. Any card that has an H is for a hunter only. So there are some cards that can be used by both vampires and hunters, but there's a lot of cards that can only be used just by hunters. So hopefully adding more hunters into the game gives us more cards to make them guys more viable. Like I said, the next set's gonna werewolves, so they'll probably have. I don't know if they're gonna have a new symbol for them, like there's cards specific to them, maybe like a W for werewolf. Will be very interesting. So, alright, so says this character has ranged. This character's ranged cards deal 1 aggravated damage to the opposing character. So that's not bad. She's good for range. We have Marcos. So this character may play any reaction against any type of attack, regardless of the restriction other than blood points. Ooh, nice. Dulles, Relentless, and Pay 1. Ready target character. Did they mention what Relentless did in here? I didn't see it in there, but maybe I just overlooked it. No. One sec. Alright, I just want to double check. I want to look up what Relentless meant. So, Relentless is just activated abilities, this keyword may be used once during each player's turn instead of only once during your turn. So basically, you can use it multiple times. I do want to jump back and make a quick correction. So the skull is not aggravated, it's just 1 damage. So basically, every time she does a ranged card, she automatically deals +1 damage. It's not necessarily aggravated. I just want to make sure I clarified that. But yeah, so this is kind of cool. So she can just pay her costs, her prestige, to go ahead and ready target characters. So you can prep them on your opponent's turn as well. We have Fabiana, which is she can go beat the crap out of someone. She has party reactions played by characters in this party have +1 shield. So yeah, anyone in the party, reactions played by the characters in the party having additional shield, which helps protect stuff. And now, just one thing you also notice is as you go along, you kind of said this is supposed to be like your main leader, your starting one, and then they start losing symbols on the bottom. Also interesting though is they all, so far, only have the ones from this set. We have Trigger. When player's character plays a reaction, the attacker loses 1 blood. Yeah, so you definitely see they mentioned in the introduction on these characters is they'll hop in front of people to protect the innocent. That's a lot of the stuff. They get to play around with the reactions a lot. We have Magnum, who has party. Attacker in his party have +1 stealth. And our last main deck character is Clarence, who has, when this character is recruited, put 1 reaction card from your discard pile into your hand. So these guys are going to be getting a lot of those. Then we have the agendas. So the agenda does have H and V, so Hunter or Vampire. So it can technically be used with anyone. It's just sort of aimed towards this group. So it's Kill Tally. When you defeat a character you do not control, gain 1 crown. Agenda. When you deal damage to an attacker you do not control, gain 1. So as you defeat people or deal damage, you can gain some extra ones. This is all about just defeating guys and not having other little gimmicks or other things to do. Then they get their hideouts. So havens are for vampires. Hunters get hideouts. So they have Hunter's Blind. Leader ability. Once during each player's turn, you may ready a character you control in the streets to block a foe's attack, including range, against a target in the streets. So this again, work with them, be able to do reactions and blocking, and all of that fun stuff. Alright, then we're going to hop into their cards. So they have a couple cards specific to their creed. I keep wanting to say group, but I'm going to say creed. And we have 3 copies of each of these. So we have Armored SUV, Action Vehicle, attach this card to your hideout, Relentless, Exhaust, pay 1 prestige, attach this card to target character in your cell. At the start of your next turn, attach it to your hideout. This character has guard and +1, and if it has the vehicle symbol, this character has +1 shield while blocking. That's cool. Yeah, attach it to your cell is basically your group of them. They just change what they're called for the hunters. I was trying to see what specifically guard did, because I don't remember that. I'm guessing guard. It's not listed in this book here, because of course it's not yet. Coterie or cell for the characters are just the two different ones. Not trying to like hold up the video, I just want to make sure I mention what these all mean. But I don't see it listed in here. Alright, rain or guard lets you block ranged attacks. So it's like ranged attacks may only be blocked by characters with the guard keyword. They kind of have it hidden in there. I go look for it in the instructions. Yeah, so this is kind of neat. It'll let you you place it on your thing, and at any point you can pay to attach it. When you're ready to do it, gives you some extra shields and guard to block ranged attacks. So it's pretty cool. We have 3 copies of Claymore. Action Trap. Place this card face down and put 1 prestige on it. Resolve during any action phase. Deal physical damage to target attacker for each prestige on this. If you have the explosives, they get +1. Kind of cool. So they both kind of work with their different things. And then we have 3 copies of the Silver Bullets. So if you have the bomb, gain 1 unhosted action. Otherwise, ongoing. Relentless. Pay 1 prestige. Target carrier you control deals +1 silver damage to with a ranged card to an opposing character. Use only if you have not activated a Silver Bullets attack this turn. This attack. You'll basically act it. You can shove a Silver Bullet into your ranged weapon to shoot a monster. Now, I don't know if the original monsters had, if that was a weakness or not. I don't specifically recall it, but then again, it might have just been the werewolf that had that. Yeah, I don't even see it on a werewolf card mention it. But yeah, so it's going to do silver damage to werewolves. Which we mentioned to the thing, so you do extra aggravated damage to them. Yes, it's not bad. Unblockable. Alright, so those are the 3 cards that are specific to the Martial Clan. And we have some more cards. Some of these can be used for both. So you have to keep an eye on the corp. It says H and B, whether it's usable for both groups or not. So you have 3 copies of each of these. So I'm not going to keep saying that. But we have the Kevlar Vest. Attached to the acting character, max 1. This character has 1 shield versus aggravated damage. Deattach, prevent 2 damage to this character. Cool. That's not a bad thing to do. We have Cover Fire. Action ongoing. If you have the gun, gain 1 unhosted action. Ongoing, pay 1. Prestige, prevent 1 damage to each character in target party. Nice. So, helping each other out. And then we have Eye in the Sky. Ongoing, burn this card. Burn target ongoing card that has no tokens on it. Relentless Exhaust. Target blocker with the drone you control deals 1 damage to it, +1 damage to an attacker. Used only if they played a reaction. So it's kind of neat. So it kind of floats around. You can exhaust it anytime. So if someone has the drone, you can do 1 extra damage and you play a reaction. Otherwise, you can just burn it. Basically have it fly in and destroy another ongoing card, which could be very helpful. Alright, so we only have 2 copies of Drive Pride. Now, the ones we only have 2 copies of, we will have a 3rd copy in the extra deck. Because we always get 3 copies of every card. They just only put 2 in the main pre-made constructed deck. So drives are basically what is moving the human players or the hunters to try and do. So we have attached to a character in your cell, max 1. Relentless, pay 1 prestige to gaining agenda. Use only if this character blocked and attacked this turn. Nice, extra way to gain agenda is not a bad thing. We do have 3 copies of the Flamethrower, which is also signified for the Martial group. So it's 2 damage. It's a ranged attack. Play this card face up and pay 2 prestige. If you have the gun, pay 1 instead. If target monster is if the target is a monster and it's aggravated damage. Nice. You can set monsters on fire. We have 3 copies of a sniper rifle. So that's 3 damage. Ranged attack, place this card face up. Pay 1. This attack cannot be blocked. If you have the gun, the target does not get a preemptive strike. Which makes sense. It's definitely a ranged. 2 copies of the 38 special, which is a ranged attack and range reaction. Isn't every Saturday night already special? That's funny. Cool. We got 3 copies of Death from Above, a physical attack reaction. Pay 1 prestige to gain +1 damage. Reaction, if you have the drone, getting additional plus damage. Nice. So loading up with some extra ammo. We have a social attack and reaction. Cruising for a bruising. Reaction gets +1 shield. If you have the car, deals 1 physical damage to the attacker instead of social. Because instead of just laughing at them, you hit them with the car. That's funny. Then we're also going to get a mental, 3 copies of a mental attack and reaction. We have Spine. Reaction gets +1 shield. If you have the drone, it deals social damage to the attacker instead of mental. Because they're embarrassing them, I guess. And then we have 3 copies of Turnabout, which is a social mental reaction. Deal 1 physical damage to the attacker. If you have the explosives, deal 2 damage instead. This also gives you 2 shield right away, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, so that's the basic deck. That is pretty cool. We get some really neat stuff in there. Then we're going to hop in here and look at the brand new other cards. Now, we're going to get some that are going to work for the Hunters, and then some are going to work for the Vampires as well. As well as to get new Hunter cards in here, too. They're just not really separated out. They're all just kind of clumped together. So we're going to get a new agenda, Unrelenting Pressure. The first time you recruit a character with relentless ability during each of your turns, gain 1 agenda. The first time you play a library card with relentless during each of your turns, gain 1 agenda. So this one I think is supposed to kind of tie in, because it's a Hunter one. So it's to tie in with our current Marshall group. You can use them, but there are also other Hunters that might use the relentless ability as well. Then we have Ghoul Master. So Ghoul Master kind of works with the Kismus group. So that's these guys. Which I think is literally that guy pictured right there. Might have been. Yeah, so it works better with them, but again, it can work with anyone that can do ghouls, or if you play with anyone. At the start of your turn, if you control +1 ghouls, gaining agenda. During each of your turn, the first time a ghoul you control attacks, blocks, or using an activated ability, gain 1 agenda. So you're going to be using your ghouls to do stuff. We have a secondary hideout for our martial groups, the Ready Room. Leader ability, you pay 1 less prestige to activate relentless ability. So you can see those 2 are kind of focused more on the relentless side. So if you don't want to go the blocker, you can go the more aggressive route. And then another one for ghouls is we have Haven Ghoulish Fabula. Characters in your Haven have +1 secrecy. Ghouls with no face-up attachments you control have +1 shield. Leader ability. When your leader exhausts, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a ghoul or has the word ghoul in its game text, draw it. Otherwise, leave it or discard it. Yeah, so those right there will help you play some new things for the other group. Now, we're not getting a brand new Haven agenda for each of the 6 clans. We only got 1 each, or one each for the Kismus group. But again, they can work for multiple groups that use ghouls. Alright, we do have 2 brand new Hunters in here. We have Salvador, who has a guard, just built right in. Once during each player's turn, you may spend a prestige of your color on a character to activate an ability, even if it doesn't interact with those characters. Once during each player's turn, you may spend prestige of your color on characters to activate an ability even if it doesn't interact with those characters. Interesting. So we can, like, use prestiges on other characters. To use other people's abilities. That's kind of cool. And then we have Evelyn, who has Relentless. Now you're going to notice he doesn't have the Hunter keyword. Which again, I think is just more or less a generalized keyword to let them know that they're hunters. I don't think it did anything specific. I'm just going to double check at the beginning of the book. If I don't see it right away, I'm going to ignore it. Yeah, they don't list it right away, so I think it's just more or less a generalized keyword to let you know that they're a hunter class. But I don't think it has any specific attachments to it. But alright, what she does. She has Relentless pay 1. This character has +1 shield this turn, and their controller may move them to the streets. Yeah, lets you move around. Never a bad thing to be able to do that. Other keywords: possessive, reach, attachment. Yeah, it's just one thing that kind of does stuff. I think it's just to let you know that they're specifically a hunter. All hunters have the hunter keyword. Just a reminder, they're different from how vampires work. So yeah, I think it's just intuitive that he has it. They just didn't list it for sake of whatever reason. All right, then we have some new vampires. We have for Ravenos, we have Ming Yu, who has Solitary. If this is the only vampire you control and this character exhausts, you may put 1 blood or prestige from your general supply onto a card you control. We have Gavi, who has a party. Characters in this party have +1 shield during your action phase for each animal attached to this character. And then Jenny. Characters in your coterie have +1 shield for each haven attached to them. Yeah, it's interesting. So we get like a solitary, we get some shield abilities as well. For Kismis, we have Mr. Petty, who has solitary and possessive. If it's the only vampire you control, this character has +1 shield for each ghoul you control. Valentina. When you discard command this character during your end phase, attach that card face down to this character. Detach 2 face down cards from this character. Damage to this character from this attack becomes superficial. So I don't think it can't defeat you. And then we have Mr. Medinger. When this character is recruited, put 1 library card from your discard pile face down into your haven. Put 2 blood from your general supply on that card, which is now a ghoul. That's kind of creates a ghoul. That'll help you out. For the Banu Hakwim, we have Elias, who has Solitary. This is the only vampire you control when you play a ritual, blood ritual. Is a blood ritual, or is that the other ritual? Not gonna make a big difference. Blood sorcery ritual. Okay, I was right. Gain 1 action and use up to 2 blood from your general supply to pay for the cost. So you can kind of hang out by himself creating those. We have Masia. When not defending, this character has +1 shield for each different ongoing tradition you control. And then we have Hakim, who has a Diabolist Attacker. If this attack would attach a card to the defender, you may attach it to any character in the defending party instead. Ooh. So you kind of just like hand out people that they defeat. That's interesting. Alright, up next we have the Celebre, who all should have Solitary. That's their whole keyword thing. If this is the only vampire you control, you may play cards of any clan affiliation. Oh, that's crazy. And then Hikari. when this character plays a reaction, you may mend up to 2 on a target character, including in Tempor. Well, that's neat, so you can kind of heal everybody. And then we have Trinidad. Party, when this character in a party is defeated, when a character in this party is defeated, gain 1 prestige. It is the only character you control, gain 2 instead. So it's kind of neat, because it sort of works like they have their solitary special effects, but then they do kind of help out if you're still in a team. Alright. We have some new ministry. We have Reina, who has solitary as well. This character has +2 influence. It is the only vampire you control. You may attach multiple titles to them, and the Prince of the City title doesn't remove other titles. Ooh, that's could be interesting. We have Farron. Well, this character has a title. They have +1 shield. And then Clara, when this character plays a Steam, they have +3 influence. Then our last group of vampires are the Catif. So we have Esterhano, who has solitary and reach. This is the only vampire you control. This character also has 3 more traits. Wow. That could make him very powerful. Zoe. When you discard a library card from your hand, you may burn it, put it at the bottom of your library, or discard it as usual. And then we have Antonia. When this character is defeated, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. So some hand manipulation. Very cool. So that is our main group, and then we have a bunch of brand new cards to go with them. So we're going to look at some stuff there kind of for the hunters first, and then we'll jump into the ones for the vampires and some generic ones. So we have a new Drive in here. We have Drive Envy, which you have 3 copies of. Attached to a character in your cell. At the end of your turn, this character steals 1 blood from target monster you have tagged. This character is a maximum blood. Flip the stolen token and place it face down on a card you control instead. Interesting. It's like, oh, they want the monster's blood. They want to be like the monster. We have 3 copies of Smoke Bomb. Reaction Special. Play only if a character in your cell would be defeated. Pay 2 prestige, place 1 blood from your general supply on the character. They are not defeated. If you have already played a reaction this turn, pay 0 instead. Nice. And then we got our 3rd copy of Pride and our 3rd copy of 38 Special. Alright, then we're going to hop into the vampire cards. Alright, so we have 3 copies of for Kismis. I think there's just one new set of cards for each different vampire clan. These are ghoul themed ones. Of course, anything for my master. Burn a ghoul you control, defeat target wounded characters. So this is gonna go blow up in front of them. We have 3 copies of Sacrifice that go with the Banu Hakwim. Remove all blood from a character you control and add it to cards you control with +1 blood already on. Not to be made in vain. In vain, like blood vein instead of vein as in superficial. That's funny. I also like that some of these ones show like the actual new characters. So, like, that guy is that guy. I don't know if Kismis shows. Yeah, so like our new horned one, that is that guy there. That's kind of cool, right? I just love that the artwork on the cards kind of goes with the new character. So that's a really neat little nod to them. Alright. So for Catif, we have Trash to Treasure. Which this one doesn't necessarily show any of the 3 of them, but we have target character, reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Do 1 physical damage to the target for each different discipline icon that appears on those cards, then discard those cards. Ooh, that could be pretty good if you get a couple really good ones there. 3 copies of Peace Among Rivals. This is our Celebrator, which that is our main guy there. seasonal exhaust, getting one agenda. Use only if you control 4+ ongoing cards with different clan affiliations. They're kind of giving you bonus for using multiple clan stuff. That's neat. We have for Ministry. So of course, there's Reina there, you know, her glory. Political Will. Influenced conflict. Should I put this card into play? Let's ask everybody, right? Ongoing. Exert 2 influence. Target character you control has +1 shield. So basically, are they going to let you exert your influence to gain extra shield or not? Cool. So those were... There's one more in here. I'm going to skip to it. It's past. It's in a different color. That's why it's not with them. Is our last one is for the Ravenos, which is chemistry, which is a physical and social reaction. Pay 2 prestige. If you have, I don't remember what all the symbol names are off the top of my head. Are they right here on this next page? Nope. I was hoping I was right there. I could just open to it. That is presence. Pay 1 instead, play this card face up, and then if you have Obfuscate, which is the blank one, choose any non-monster character in the streets other than the attacker. Redirect this attack to that character. The attack may be blocked, the defender may play a reaction. Basically, bounce attack to somebody else. It's pretty cool. And is that one of the new ones? It could be her, very easily. Can't really tell for sure, but it definitely looks like it probably is. Alright, so those are our new... so I have 3 new vampires for each clan. Each one of those 6 clans, plus a brand new set of cards for them. Plus we had 2 new hunters as well. Plus 6 new cards for them. 3 new each one. But they're actually for any hunters. Notice that that's some of the more generic ones. So we have 3 Ghoul Boys. Where's a new ghoul? It says put 1 blood from the acting character on this. Exhaust. Target attacker has +1 intel. 3 copies of Librarian Ghoul. Put 2 blood on the acting from the acting character on this. Exhaust. Draw 1 card. Then if you have 5+ cards in hand, discard 1. 3 copies of Stand and Deliver. 2 actions, ritual and ongoing. Blood sorcery ritual. Place 1 to 3 of your blood of your color on this card. Ongoing. Exhaust, remove 1 blood from this, ready target character. And relentless exhaust, remove 2 from this during a foe's turn to ready up to 2 target characters. Interesting. So on your turn you can do it easily, but then on your opponent's turn you can do it to get 2 of them. Nice. We have 3 copies of Awaken the Homuncular Servant. That is creepy. That's like a bone lizard of some sort. Which is another ongoing ritual. With the little oblivion symbol. For each burned mortal, you may put +1. You may put 1 blood from your general supply in this card. Ongoing, remove 2 blood from this card. Put a library card from your discard pile face down into your haven and put the spent card in that, which is now a ghoul. Oh, nice. Another way to create ghouls. That's not bad. 3 copies of Shine a Light. Action Steam. Influence conflict. Should I remove up to 2 tokens from target ongoing or unattached face down card a player controls for every 5 influence in favor of this scheme? Then burn it if there are no tokens on it. Wow, that's a lot to go through. So should I remove 2 tokens from the ongoing target or unattached face down card? I'm assuming you have to select which card it is. Which target card you want to remove it from. For every 5 influence in favor of the scheme. Then burn it if there are no tokens on it. So basically, everyone can agree if it's worth getting rid of a card or not. Interesting. We have 3 copies of Blinded, a social mental reaction. This character is wounded +1 shield. If there's only 1 character in your coterie, +1 shield after this attack. If this card is face down, after this attack, attach this card face down to the attacker. Interesting. If there's only one character, so yeah, then you give it to your attacker and they get a shield. Then the last 3 cards we have are Feint. If this attack is a physical attack, this attack does not defeat target. Does not defeat your target, and you only control 1 vampire ready this attacker. Solitary, pay 1, gain 1 action during your turn. And that's cool. I don't know if we've seen too many solitary cards definitely outside of the set, but now we have more solitary cards. That definitely works. Alright, so then the next bunch of cards we have are errata cards. These are basically ones where they changed something or fixed something on them. Maybe they were misprinted to begin with. Maybe they got into tournaments and they found out they're a little bit broken or not good enough, which is always a possibility as well. And they had to fix them. So we're going to go ahead and look at them. I'm going to compare them to the original so we can see exactly what's different. Alright, so now we're going to show off the errata cards here. The ones on the left here are the brand new versions, and these on the right are the old versions. Now, there is no way of just looking at these to generally tell like which one's which. I mean, the art might be a little bit shaded a little bit differently. The back should be the same, but there's not like a number on the back or a little symbol that says marks that they're the errata version, which would be kind of nice just so you know if you have that in your deck or not. Now, just in general terms of using these cards, so if you're playing at home in your own game, use whichever version you would like. That is entirely up to you. You can basically do what you want. It's your game. But I believe if you're going to a tournament, you have to have the most updated cards. It is sort of the downside of the way this tournament works, because it's the same thing with the city decks. Whatever the newest city deck is, which at this point I think it's from the last expansion, the big one like the Hunters had the Rio de Janeiro set. I believe that was the last one. Is that then becomes the most current one you have to use. If you don't have that deck, you can't enter. So, and I think the errata cards are the same way. I think you have to have the newest one. So if you're playing in tournaments, it almost forces you to have to buy the newest sets. Which isn't a terrible thing. You're probably going to anyhow if you're bothering to go to tournaments, because you're going to want any new cards from this set you can get. Alright, so what's the differences here? Your characters in your haven have 1 secrecy, same thing. Leader ability is slightly different. So now it is pay 1 or 2 blood to draw that many cards from your library, as opposed to relentless, pay 1 to draw 1 card. So more or less the pay part stays the same. You can either get 1 or 2 cards, but they remove relentless. I think the idea of being able to draw cards on your opponent's turn might have been a little bit too powerful. And now I don't believe the rulebook says anything in here. Yeah, I was just saying if it says specified specifically anything about the errata cards, and it doesn't say like, oh, we did this for this reason or this for this reason. Not necessarily. So yeah, there's that. Alright, then the next one we have, and this is, I don't remember which expansions these are all from. You look at the symbols. This is Dragon and Rat, I believe. So you have Raising the Stakes. Which are agenda cards. So the first time you play, +1 prestige on a card you control that already has 2 tokens on it during each of your turns, gain 1 agenda. So far, so good, the same. The new one then says, the first time you resolve a face-down card with 4 plus tokens on it during each player's turn, gain 2. Where last time it said when you resolve a face-down card with 14 on it, gain 2. If you reach 13, win. So that's one thing they did do, is they started removing the on the agendas, if you reach 13, win. It was just a common thing. If you get 13, you win. That's what they all are. So there's no point to post it on every single card. But that's not really the big change they did it for, because they didn't change all of them like that. But it says, yeah, the first time you do it, as opposed to when you resolve it. It's the first time on each player's turn. So you can only gain, the new one, you can only gain the extra 2 agenda once per turn, each player's turn, versus the other one says you could basically do it anytime. So if you ended up triggering and resolved 2 or 3 on a player's turn, you could gain 2 or 3, gain the ability 2 or 3 times. Just trying to slow it down. Alright, then we have Faked Morgana, which we get 3 copies of to replace the 3 in the other ones. I only grabbed 1 of the old one. Having 3 of them is not going to change anything. But it says, Action Trap. Play this card face down and place 1 prestige on it. Resolve any time during an attack. For each 2 prestige on this card, you may redirect 1 damage from this attack to a target character in the streets. So all it is, it upped the prestige cost. Again, it was probably just maybe a little bit too effective to have. They only have to do it for 1. So it's every 2 now, so it's just gonna make it a little bit harder to get off, but it's still a pretty good card. Up next we have Doom to Roam. Again, we'll get 3 copies. Unhosted action ongoing. Attach a haven from your collection to a non-leader character in your coterie. Same exact thing. Ongoing. Discard 1 card. Remove your active haven from the game and replace it with another haven you control. You may then return any of your characters in the streets to your haven. So the old one said swap your active haven with another one you control. You may then return any of your characters in the streets. So here is forcing you to remove it. So it's making it a little bit harder. So it's letting you get a second haven out. But it's telling you to remove it from the game. And let you use another one. Versus just swapping them. And maybe just the swap was a confusing word. And that might have just been as simple as that. Alright, then we have, from the newest expansion, other than one we have, is the Werewolf. You only get 1 copy, there's only 1 monster. His stats stay the same, and it says, while wounded, this monster preemptively strikes each member of the attacking party 1 at a time, and in the order of your adversary's choosing. While wounded, this monster preemptively strikes each member of the attacking party 1 at a time and in the order of your adversary's choosing. I don't know what is different about this card. Cost 10, 3, 1, 1. While wounded, this monster preemptively strikes each member of the attacking party 1 at a time and in the order of your adversary's choosing. Everything seems the exact same to me. Other than the fact that the text is maybe a little bit different, like font-wise, or a little bit bigger. So I'm not sure. Maybe there was like an early version or some version of the set that came out, maybe like a printing where it was printed wrong. But otherwise that, me just looking at these, I don't see anything wrong with this card or any differences. So I'm not really sure. If nothing else, it gives me a second werewolf. Maybe they didn't even mean this one as it's technically an errata. Maybe they just wanted to add a second werewolf into the deck, and that was a way to do it. Not for sure. Then the last one we have is a promo card. This is from the Nightlife booster pack. So Gisela della Scala, a La Sombra vampire, says when attacker, when this character defeats a foe and the character on the streets, move all agenda on this character to your agenda. Attacker, when this character defeats a character in the streets, move all agenda on this character to your agenda. Again, everything stayed the same. Other than they changed the font a bit. To maybe match some of the other ones, but I'm not really sure why they would have changed that again for this, because it's weird because all the other ones I imagine had the same unless they were different. But again, it might even be like a first printing of the promo versus a later printing. Maybe I didn't get the first printing, or maybe a second printing had an error. Not really sure what the difference here was. So everything else looks like it stayed the exact same. But that's what we have. I did want to show them off. So the last thing I have for this video is, actually, not the last thing I have for this. The last thing I have that kind of goes with this video is we do have 2 more promo cards. I'm going to set these guys off to the side. As you have 2 promos, we have, let me do it this way. We have 58 and 59. These are the pre-order bonuses. So like with most Renegade Studios, lots of their card games, when you pre-order them before they come out, you can get a little extra promos. These are just alt arts of Reina and Jordana. They don't do anything different. But if you like some different artwork, definitely a cool thing to pick up. You're going to buy the set anyhow. You may as well get, you know, extra cool stuff to go with it. If you didn't pre-order this, obviously, if you're watching this video, it's already past pre-order. They usually resell these later on for about $5. So if you're picking up a bunch of the promo packs or some other stuff at once, it's probably not too bad, but buying it by itself is a little expensive. Alright, that is all we have for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys later. Bye.